All right, the video today is covering stage 23 vocabulary and derivatives. As always, this is not an exhaustive list of derivatives. Some words, I try to hit the ones that you would be seeing on either a test or in different worksheets. However, you can always come up with more, and I'd love to hear more, what you come up with. Also, just as a heads up, if you have any questions about the vocabulary or the derivatives, feel free to email me. Feel free to bring them to class the next day, whatever is easiest for you. So the first word, administro, administrare, administravi. Give you a second to think about what it could mean. It's a first conjugation verb, so it should be easy to memorize. O, are, avi. And it means to manage, like the administration. They are the managers of the school. Cedo, cedere, cessi is our next word. Give you a second to think about what it might mean. It's a third conjugation verb that means to give in or give way. And we do get a derivative from this used in our book. It's to cede. We also get the word succession, like when the southern states succeeded or from the Union during the Civil War. Or, if you are from the South, the War of Northern Aggression, as my friends in Georgia like to point out. Our next word is claros aum. And it is a 2-1-2 adjective, and it means famous. Here we have commemoro, commemorare, commemoravi, commemoratus. Hopefully the conjugation is easy to identify. It is a first conjugation verb, and it's to mention or to recall. You can see the word memory right in there, memor, very easy to pick up. We get to commemorate or commemorative from here. Conspicatus aum. Here we have a perfect active participle. Now remember, perfect active participles are 2-1-2 adjectives. They are very similar. It means having caught sight of. Here we have a noun, cora, corai. We've seen this word before in adjective forms and in verb forms. So now it's the noun form, and it's a first declension feminine noun, and it means to care. So the word to curate comes from cora, corai. Enim might be a hard one to come up with think of what it means. It's conjunction. It means for, just like nam. But this one's a post-positive. That means it comes after the first word of a clause. So you will never see this first in a clause. It always is the second word in the clause. But it's always in that spot. Here we have erro, errare, erravi, erratus. Another first conjugation verb. Might be easy to figure out what it is. And it is to make a mistake, but it can also mean to wander. You err from your path. You make an error. Error, errant, aberration are all derivatives from this word, and I'm sure you guys could come up with a lot of them. But notice all first conjugations are very easy. We have the O for the first principal part, the ARE for the second principal part, the AVI for the third principal part, and then the ATUS for the fourth principal part. Here we have Gero, gerere, gessi, gestus. Might be a hard one to come up with the definition. But it's third conjugation verb, and it means to wear. So we would be using this with a lot of words such as toga or vestimenta, stola, paula, different clothing items, or armaments. Honor, honoris is a noun. I'm gonna guess you probably figured out what it means. It's a third declension masculine noun. It means honor. Now, it is good to note almost all third declension abstract nouns ending in or are masculine. Remember amor from the last chapter? That was also masculine. Here we have honor, also masculine. And it honorific, honor, I'm sure you can think of other ones. Honorary are all derivatives of it. Iaccio, iacere, ieci, iactus. This is one similar to one that we've seen before. It is a third conjugation IO, and it means to throw. And I have to pause this for a second. And we're back. There was a slight toga emergency. Yes, you can see the answers now. Let's get it started up again. All right, so iaccio, iacere, ieci, iactus, as you saw, is a third conjugation IO verb, and it means to throw. And it comes from a very similar place as iacto, iactare, iactavi, iactatus. This one is third IO. It's also, I find, a little more common than iacto, but that could be just in my experience. All right, immotus aum. Immotus. We've seen motus before. So what could immotus mean? Well, it is a 2-1-2 adjective, and it means still or motionless. Oh, realized I was moving a little too fast. Still or motionless. Oh, wait, I'm not talking about. You can pause this. Never mind. Breaking the third wall here, or fourth wall. Sorry, guys. All right, Ingenium, ingenii. Ingenium, ingenii. This is a second declension neuter noun. It means character, like a person's character. Now, what type of genitive do you think this will be often seen with? If you guessed genitive of description, you're correct. Ingenious is a word that is derived from here. Locutus aum is one of the words we saw last chapter. We saw it a lot, and I said pay attention. It could occur on the test, so you should know what it means. It's a perfect active participle. It means having spoken. So having spoken. Elocution is locution is a word, a derivative from here. Magnopere. If you've watched the adverb video, you might have seen this stuff already. But magnopere is an adverb, and it means greatly. From magnus. Magus. Well, we are at a Jesuit school, so it should be easy. More. It can also mean rather. And this is another adverb. And then maxime. Sorry, another adverb. Again, you should have seen the pattern with this from the other video, but you know this is the US turned into an E, and this is very greatly or most of all. Mandatum, mandati. Might be very easy. Second declension neuter noun, and it's instructions or orders, such as a mandate. Modus, modi, another noun. It is masculine, second declension masculine, and it means manner, a way, or kind. So we have the phrase in our vocabularius, huius modi, a thing of this kind. There's also, in English, modus operandi, which is a Latin phrase. It's abbreviated MO. I want you guys to look it up. But modish or commodious are other two derivatives from it. Nimium, nimii is a word we saw last chapter, also connected with the genitive, genitive of quantity. And we learned last chapter it meant too much. It's second declension neuter noun, so it shouldn't be too hard. And nimity is a derivative of it. Orno, ornare, ornavi, ornatus. This one should be pretty easy. It's the first declension, so we have that o, are, avi, atus pattern. It's first conjugation. It means to decorate, like ornaments, ornate, are two examples of derivatives from it. Pareo, parere, parui, and yes, there should be a line over the e in the second principal part. And this is a second conjugation verb. It's to obey. And this is a plus dative. All right. Potens, potentis. It's a type 3 adjective, and it means powerful. So I abbreviated this, but what would the masculine, feminine, and neuter nominative singular forms look like? It should be easy to pick up. Hopefully you were able to think and say that it was potens for all three. So potens pater, potens mater, and then potens chylum are all going to look the same. And impotent does come from this word. Pravus is another adjective. We've seen this before. We saw this in stage 20. The astrologer was described like this in his competition with the doctor, and that means evil. And we get the word depraved from it. Regressus this is another one of our perfect active participles, and it means having returned. So we know 6 of these now. We learned 4 last chapter and 2 new ones in this chapter. Locutus spans both. So we know 6 of these now, so there's 6 perfect active participles that you guys need to know. Now, regressus, or the stem, I should say, gress, is very important, having stepped, because we're going to get a lot of words built off of that stem. So memorize the word, memorize regressus, but also note that gress means stepped or movement, because we get transgressus, ingressus, egressus. There's a lot of words that come from it. From regressus, we get the derivative regression. So that should be pretty easy to see. Then we have skio, skiere, skiwi, skitus. In your book, it leaves out the 4th principal part, but it does have one, and I don't know why they left it off. And this is a 4th conjugation verb, and it's to know. And so we get words like prescience and omniscient. God is described as omniscient, knowing everything. So, because we have omnis plus skio smashed together like that. Talus, talus, tale, another adjective, a type 3 adjective. And it is such. And retaliate is a word that we get from it. Tamquam, adverb. Hard one to guess, so I'm just moving on. It means as or like, and we use it a lot with similes. The sun was like a rose setting in the west. You know, we would use tamquam, tamquam rosa. I mean, there's a few more words, but you get the picture. Umquam, another adverb, means ever. And then weneni is a word we saw actually in stage 20 with Barbilus, unfortunately meeting his end. It's the 2nd declension neuter noun, and it's poison. So venenum, and then from that we obviously get venomous or venom in English. And then we have venia, venii, 1st declension noun. This one actually you probably have seen before, just because of theology classes. It's mercy. And so venial sins are sins that one can show mercy for. And that is the end of the slideshow. So feel free to go back through the slides again. Make sure you make your flashcards if you haven't done so already. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.